Well, hello everyone. Oh, that's not how the beginning should start. Hold on, pretend this didn't happen. Phew. Hello everyone. Welcome to It's a Long Story, a place where we roll dice, we tell stories, and we create magic. We are here with our lovely crew of the Brasslight. Everybody take a look at your camera, wave, and say howdy.
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 Hello.
Hello, welcome. We're in the second session of the new year with the Brasslight. Very excited to be going to a place that feels warmer than where it feels right now. Let's just jump in. For those that have no idea what this is, hi. How's it going? We're a D&D live stream that runs every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, having 5 parties living, existing, and breathing for those that do in the same homebrew world, the wonderful, beautiful world of Astera. So if this is your first time watching the channel, what's up? Welcome. Check it out. It's really fun. For D&D, we do a lot of cool D&D stuff. Sorry, I was stretching. Let's see. Announcements very slim today, just the normal sort of one for those that are wanting to support the channel. As you're watching through this, best way to do so is to like and subscribe where you're watching it, whether that is on YouTube or Twitch. You can also check out our Instagram and TikTok down below there at It's a Long Story _TTRPG, which we did just put up the video, the kind of like teaser. Of what's been going on in Astera, in the behind, maybe a little peek behind the curtain of some stuff that will begin to unfold as we get further into the year. So please feel free to check that out. Before we jump into tonight's session, just trying to kind of move full steam ahead into the RP. We do need to get a recap of where we left off with the party. So without further ado, Scott, please take it away.
Okay, so last session, we start with Ophelia. And Ophelia, we miss you. Come back as soon as you feel better. But she's talking with her friend Juliet and, Bernard. We find out that they're only really staying one day. They're kind of distracted, and Ophelia is able to get her spider web back. And she returns and opens the door to the others. Just as Jericho is vomiting, Rasa is, I think that my notes are correct here, runs out naked and dripping gold to go get his clothes. Lysandra very elegantly leaves the tub with her scarf and gets her clothes. Jericho, completely mortified and profusely apologizing, is just, frankly, very awkward. Blair can best be described right now as a grumpy cat, very annoyed that she got her hair wet. And, Rhea never moved faster than ever, running to her room. In fact, she ran so fast that she ran into Ophelia, knocking her over the railing, but Ophelia was able to actually catch and hang on and, frankly, scream bloody murder. Water very quickly drained out of the pool as Lux the Brassborn assisted Ophelia, preventing her from falling. Lux leaves to find Tressa and Corin. Rasa goes to help Jericho and, give him a towel. Blair is blaming the fish. Rasa opens that conversation about the blood from before, and the discussion of Cassian Reed, the politician, and the ship disaster. Corin comes out to greet the group, serve drinks, make sure everyone is okay, and he also reassures them that Timothy is, he's just fine. Don't worry about Timothy. Meanwhile, Timothy's actually, somewhere in some operating room kind of thing, with straps holding him down on this iron slab, as Halise is actually working inside his body with some kind of cool steampunk equipment operating thing. And Timothy describes some of his clockwork insides, the core and power sources. We found out that Halise actually knows Timothy, or at least she says she did, and she met him over 200 years ago, 220 to be specific. But we also know, or we also find out that Timothy doesn't recognize her. I apologize. Um, we find out there's some kind of cracks or some kind of problem in the cranial brain housing and causing some kind of memory issue for Timothy, or at least that's how Halise describes it. She says that there's a man named Emery that created Timothy, who's no longer with us, and his model was discontinued about 215 years ago. There's a serial number that starts with EV, um, and that should stand for Emery Vargas. Halise starts talking about the war that never came, and, well, Tessa interrupts her to make sure Timothy's friends know he's safe. Halise says that she'll get her thoughts together about Timothy's history after he asks her what is his purpose, why is he here, what is going on. Uh, and well, Tressa's actually been standing there the whole time. Uh, Tim asked Tressa how long Halise had been there as she stepped away, and he answers that she'd been there, well, sometime after the war. Um, Timothy was escorted back to the group, and, well, there's frankly a little bit of an awkward conversation as the group comes together. And Timothy realized he'd actually never been opened before. He'd never really been repaired before or anything like that. And he also realizing maybe Halise is actually older than Timothy. I apologize. Um, Jericho asked if he could leave to go to his room, and then each party member kind of left for their rooms as night was falling. Lysandra asked to speak to Timothy. Um, and at this point, right now, Kiki is very suspicious of Joe. It's right in my notes. Um, Lysandra showed Timothy the newer power core, asking if it looks like what he saw, and he kind of describes the power source, which looks kind of similar, but a little bit older. Well, very older than what she has. Uh, and, well, yeah, Timothy found his drug. Really, really tempting to open the device, Dominium, that has a really strong pull to Timothy. Lysandra tells Timothy that it's not safe to open it here. Meanwhile, we see Blair trying to steal the Ignite bomb from Lysandra, but kind of got caught somewhat on purpose. Meanwhile, Jericho is sitting on his bed in his room. The episode takes over. On the raft, we see another raft paddling, describing the man walking up to Jericho choosing straws. Meanwhile, Jericho goes unconscious. Rasa heads to his room, checking on his old gear. He heads outside for a walk, finding a piece of straw stuck in the floorboards. He thinks, it's fine. Maybe it just came off Jericho. He chews on the straw, walking to the well. Tressa is tending bar, exchanging pleasantries, and we find that the well is actually closed. There was an attempt to speak with animals, but there was just really no good connection there. He sees and speaks to Juliet, who's also walking, and when after they have kind of a nice conversation, Ross is asked, and he says he's actually in his 50s in terms of age. They have this conversation about lost love, and we find out that Juliet really wants to change her fate. She leaves, and then Rasa returns just a few minutes later. Halise actually sends Timothy a message to wait for her to speak tomorrow, and she wants to share information. Meanwhile, Blair is now bouncing that bomb up and down, annoyed at Lysandra for keeping it from her. Blair stubs her toe on a piece of straw, sticking up from the floorboards. Meanwhile, Timothy touches the battery in Lysandra's bag, filling all the power. It's his drug. Lysandra gets a message from Halise asking where she got the device, and she pretty much tells her it's really better to speak in person. Halise tells her to keep the battery away from Timothy, and she knows who she is. Lysandra wants to learn about the name Halise and Emery using her borrowed knowledge, and she said the word cheeky about Lysandra. Not really a word from Abravar. Lysandra tells her that Halise is remembered at least by some. Corin walked up to the door, but not really where he was. Warns us that Jericho is unconscious. Lysandra rushes off to heal Jericho. Blair discovers another piece of straw in the doorway, and Jericho's straw is significantly shorter. And that's where we ended.
Beautiful. Thank you, Scott. Anything else to add, friends? No. All right, cool. You're good to go. All right. So I believe I am all caught up. I had a little bit of to catch up on my notes that didn't want to load, but we should be good to go. So, you guys want to play some D&D?
Hell yeah.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. You guys want to play some D&D?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yes, please.
Thank you for being so polite. Cool. Let's do just that. The late afternoon has dropped into sunset. And that's where we left off with our friends. Now it's nighttime. Tressa or Corin, we'll say Tressa probably came by to check on you all one more time and tried to convince you to try to get a good night's rest, as there will be plenty of festivities to take part in the morning. Given the situations you guys were all in and the lack of full explanation for some of those things, I'd like to know what everybody wants to do here. The answer to that could be, I just want to go to bed. But leaving that kind of open. So we'll start with Rasa. So Rasa, you actually are coming back. You're kind of hearing about this secondhand as you come in. You see Jericho is probably standing up, or at least fully conscious, I'd say, but maybe 10 minutes after the whole scene took place.
Yeah, I mean, after checking on Jericho, I think Ross is probably ready to go to bed. I'm not sure there's anything else that he's looking to do tonight.
Cool. Makes sense. Lysandra.
I think, other than like her normal nightly stretches and stuff that she does before bed, she's gonna also meditate and ask Melisandre for guidance, just because she sees her memories when she sleeps, so whatever she can show her about Halise to prepare her for the meeting tomorrow. And then she's gonna go to sleep and hope Melisandre gives her something not vague.
Okay.
That was a vague head shake.
Seemingly no response. Melisandre. Timothy, what do you do?
Timothy wants things to be just a tiny bit simpler. Maybe a time when his best friend Rasa didn't have wings, or there wasn't a strange lady with this device that seems really, really awesome, or Jericho being possessed all the time, or some old lady telling him his brain is all messed up. Just just one thing that's a little bit simpler. That would be awesome.
Okay,
But he's not going to get that tonight, so he's just going to try to go to sleep.
you got it. Where do you sleep, Timothy? Would you have
Did I
chosen
get a
your own
room?
room? Yeah, you would have had a room. But remember, I mean, you don't sleep. You just kind of power down. So
Yeah, I just kind of sort of shut down. Yeah, I mean, he's gotten in the habit of, I guess, pretending to be more like humans. I guess. So he'll go in a room and lie down for a while.
okay. Like physically lie down.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Jericho.
Reckon I'll just be going to bed to sleep off this. What just happened?
Okay. Jericho, give me a wisdom saving throw, DC 5.
DC 5?
Mm-hmm.
Passed it with an nat 20.
Okay.
Feels like I wasted that nat 20 tonight.
Let's see if I can add to something. We'll see. Cool. Blair.
I believe before Blair goes to sleep, she wants to try to take the ignite not fully out of the little casing she made, but wrap a little cloth around it so it has a little bit more cushion in it so it's not an active bomb.
You want to take the flammable substance and cushion it?
Yes.
With what?
Now you're making it sound really stupid.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying that might make more sense to be like I secure it somehow and that sort of thing. I think that would make a little more sense. The idea of like stuffing something that is flammable with a soft material might be kind of counteractive or counterintuitive. So we'll say
just so it's not like an active bomb right in my pocket.
one of the other things too that I think you could do is that like to assemble what you had for this, you could also just disassemble it. You know what I mean? And I'd say like for what you have, because you spent enough time kind of working on this, I'll say you for whatever you're still not entirely sure like the effect of what this could bring, but I'd say to put it back together would take about a minute.
Okay.
So I'll give you that. Cool. Give me a sleight of hand check.
Okay, that's not what I thought it was, but it's better. Could have been worse. Sleight of hand. That's gonna be a 14. I thought it was a natural 1, but it's a 7.
The natural 1 was what I was having you roll for, so it does not explode in your hands. Score.
Yeah. Blair's after that. She's gonna go to bed, but she's not gonna be in this room because she doesn't trust this place, so she's gonna sleep on the roof.
Okay. Would you say this is something that Blair does often?
Yeah, she likes high places.
Specifically, like sleeping on roofs.
Yeah.
Okay. You see there is a blanket and a pillow up there.
That's not suspicious at all. But okay.
Do you do anything with this information?
Blair's just gonna this place is getting weirder and weirder, but there's nothing else she can do, so she's just gonna sleep here.
Okay. So you spend the night underneath the sort of carved, I can't remember what stage we're at this point, but the carved moon that we can see overhead. Night sky showing heavy black coat of paint that just has a couple of white spots. You guys all take your long rest. And we wake up in the morning. Unfortunately, the morning kind of brings the same sense of be the same kind of type of music. It just never really kind of stops here. But I will say you do notice that it sounds like the water that is moving through the promenade is moving a little faster, giving kind of a sense of a more rushing water feeling. And you all wake up. We'll have some fun with this. Let's do, everybody give me a perception check.
Hate rolling.
It's
Hate
a
rolling in
16.
this dice game. 16? Cool.
Rolling this dice game. It's a 4.
I got a 9.
16.
18.
18. Okay, cool. Did anyone get higher than 18? Okay. Jericho, you're not entirely sure, but seemingly you're the first to wake up as you notice that it is still somewhat dark out. You can actually just see the sun coming just over the horizon as it is starting to cast light upon the red sands of Abervar. You're alone in your hotel room. What do you do?
I slowly sit up in my bed, and I make my way to the edge. My feet are sort of just dangling off because I can't touch the floor from where I'm assuming how high the bed is. And I just sort of like stretch a little bit, and I just hear every bone in my body crack for just a second. I reach for my stick, or my walking stick that's right next to my bed, and I grab it and I get up and slowly start to get dressed. Once I have my clothes on, I think I walk over to the balcony and give that landscape just a really good... I just sort of ponder the landscape.
Okay. This is as far north as you've ever been. We'll carry you over with that perception check and that nat 20, I guess. You can see you're higher up than you've been in at least the lands of Abervar. And I think you were maybe curious as to what you see, but as you glance through, a lot of the desert itself. This may be the first time you noticed it, but it seems like there's almost like a, I think you like initially sort of see it as a like a covering sort of bubble shield of sand that seems to kind of encase around the umber, making it almost difficult to see through. At times, it seems to kind of go in and out as if it's shifting around. After a few minutes of looking at this, you're not entirely sure if this is just the nature of the desert, if this is something that... I don't know if Jericho would consider this to be something possibly magical. I think it's just foreign.
I think even though he spent the last, give or take, 3 years in this part of the world, so much of it still feels so foreign to Jericho. He still doesn't, that landscape still doesn't, it just doesn't feel like home to him yet. So yeah, he doesn't clock it as magical. I don't believe he necessarily clocks it as anything other than the potential for danger that it seems to be. But I think after having a moment to look at it, I will hobble out of my room, down some stairs. I'm assuming there's no remnants of straw from the last night or anything like that. But I will make my way to the to where I assume lunch is, or at least seeking out food is my first priority. Food and caffeine.
All right. And as you kind of walk past the deck, you pass by the window just as it is opening up. I believe the next number was 16, I believe. But I believe it was both from Timothy and someone else.
Me.
Okay. Well, in this case, then, I think it would be Timothy that had opened the window. So, Timothy, you happen to notice the pitter-patter of halfling footsteps as we see Jericho kind of moving by. What is Timothy's morning like?
Well, Timothy opens the window. Might as well get some fresh air in this room. At least for others, I guess. And he sees Jericho's footsteps going, yeah, you know what? That's a kind of a weird one there, but maybe he has a read on the situation. And he hurries after him. He wants to talk to Jericho.
Okay. I'll say in this moment you can catch up.
Okay. Hey, Jericho. Mind if I walk with you?
No. Good morning, Mr. Timothy. Yeah, absolutely. I was just on my way to try to find some food and morning, Brown. What? Yeah, please feel more than welcome to walk with me.
Okay. So I'm going to walk with him. I won't slow you down. And I understand wanting morning coffee and all.
Mhm.
You seem to have a good head on your shoulders, and frankly, with everything going on around here, I'm just plain confused at this point. What do you think?
Um, I think it's quite I think uh it's quite humbling to think that you consider me having a good head on my shoulders. Thank you, I guess. What in particular are you referring to, though, Mr. Timothy? I think there's quite a few things here that probably should be discussed, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll pause you there.
Yeah.
Cool. Blair. Cool. Blair, you wake up to a figure standing over you.
Kind of like when a cat gets startled from a nap, she just goes.
Yeah, claws just full come out. Yeah.
Tail all poofy.
Good morning.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry, did I startle you? I was very careful in making sure I didn't make a noise.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Do you guys just watch people sleep?
Well, the understanding of privacy is usually held a little bit more closer to those that would stay in their rooms. However, I was just making sure that you understand that you're perfectly fine staying up here as long as you don't get hurt. Is there anything I can assist you with this morning?
Like, where would breakfast be?
Well, it would not be on the roof.
Yeah, no shit.
It's downstairs waiting for you.
Thank you.
And she just walks off.
Fucking weirdo.
Blair, what do you do?
I'll just go down and see if anybody else is up and about. Oh, before I go, while I'm up on the roof, can I see any of the robots or the people wearing the same outfits like them, like, moving around, like, where they're coming from?
Give me a perception check.
God damn it, that's a natural 1.
I'll say with a natural one, in your intention of going like, where are they coming from? You aren't able to really see that, but I'll say that the reason why is because you're somewhat distracted by the amount of people that are actually scattered below. Even at this point of daybreak, there's actually a good amount of white robes and seemingly people with actual skin in them, walking around, seemingly enjoying the morning activities.
Are there more, like, white robe people than, like, guests around?
You're aware that a lot of the people that were putting on, like, the spa sort of robes are white robes.
Okay.
So it's hard to tell whether they would be guests or servants or both, but...
Okay.
Or not both, you know what I mean?
Just gonna head down to where everybody's at for breakfast.
Okay. As you jump down, I will say, I think Lysandra, you got a 5, right?
A 4.
A 4. Okay. And then Rasa got a 9.
Correct.
Cool. We'll say, Rasa, as your what's your morning look like?
I think there's some time where he spends kind of in thought. He's, through a series of strange events, come across a new crew. It's not necessarily his crew, but it's the crew that he's with, maybe. And I think he knows that there's a crossroad coming ahead for him. Could he take advantage of this and retire, the retirement that he deserves? Could he use these people for that? Then what about Rustwater? Is there a commitment there that he needs to honor? And then what about the stories of all these people who he's with? What is his obligation to them for all that they've done for Westwater so far, or they might do in the future?
As you're thinking about these things, you hear the soft "tutum" just outside your door.
I think both hearing and sensing the group kind of heading towards the central location, you would get ready and join them.
Okay. As you open the door, you see Blair just about to kind of like walk forward.
Good morning, Blair. Were you up on the roof?
I don't know how many times I have to tell you all this. This place is giving major serious vibes. I'm not going to stay in a bed that they know I'm going to be in, but for some reason they also knew I was going to go on the roof. There was a pillow and a blanket there.
I don't think you can escape it. Not while you're here.
Yeah. I don't see how none of you are a little bit more concerned about this, but okay. How was your, sleep?
It was okay. Lots to think about the past few days. But I'm anxious to move on just like you.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see what the group's up to. See what the plan is.
I could kill for a owlbear claw right now.
I'm sure they have whatever you want. Let's go see what they've got for breakfast.
Beautiful. And lastly, I believe we come to a hotel room where we seem to kind of zoom in and see Lysandra. Lysandra, what is your morning like?
I think she just wakes up and does like morning stretches, some morning exercise to warm her body up and get ready for the day, kind of ground herself and center herself in all of the rituals she does. Cleaning the weapons, getting everything ready, taking 10 plus minutes to put on her armor. That's why she's left. She's got to put on all of that.
Yeah, it's not waking up last. It's the amount of time spent. Yeah.
It's all those buckles. And I think she's just trying to think about what she saw or really didn't see last night in her sleep, and why Melisandre would keep pertinent information from her in this time.
Yeah. Okay. There is, we'll say that this is a little bit, at least about 30 seconds after Blair and Timothy have walked off. You hear a knock at the door.
You are muted.
I assume you go.
Thank you. Who is it?
Bolts the door shut. It is Corin.
Can I help you, Corin?
Did you open the door, or are you just like kind of talking beyond it?
She would have gone and opened it. Yeah, she's above all else tries to be polite.
Cool. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we feeling this morning?
Curious, I suppose. I guess I have a meeting of some kind today.
Yes. I was just made aware of you being able to meet Madam Inventor. She's
Yes.
actually very curious of all of you and wanted me to pass the message to you to pass to them. That there will be a meeting at noon.
With everyone.
Seems so.
I suppose she doesn't want the answers she seeks, then. She should know better.
There are many things that Madam Inventor knows that stand beyond both you or I. But I will let you take that up with her. We have a lovely breakfast waiting for you downstairs if you are interested. I believe most of your party is waiting for you there.
Is that all?
Unless there is anything else I can be of help with.
I don't believe so. Thank you, Corin.
And you see him walk off in the opposite direction of where you're going to be going.
Well, that changes what she was gonna do and say today. She'll head to breakfast.
Okay.
Thought you're getting Lysandra lore. Nope.
Let's see. Cool. I like that one. As you guys come down to breakfast, and let's say like some of you are in the middle of the conversation, others are just kind of waiting for the meal. The breakfast that is made out for you is weirdly enough, it is facilitated towards the tastes of each person. So, as you guys would continue your morning, I would like you to describe to me what is sitting in front of you, as they would have somehow determined that knowledge. So we'll do this backwards. We'll start with Lysandra.
Oh, Jesus. It's probably. I'm trying to think now. It's like a heavy vegetable omelet. Lots of vegetables. Notably, like no cheese or any like dairy products. Just like a ton of mushrooms and hardy vegetables that grow in hardier environments.
Beautiful. Love it. Great. We move to Rasa.
I feel like there's some sort of like game meat seared like a steak and eggs. It'd be like a dream meal for him. Not subsisting off of cactus in the desert, but something caught wild.
Cool. I like it. So the we'll say the Yeah. The meat there for that, I would say, like, it looks to be like some sort of, I would say probably like some sort of desert rodent. So, as you were only able to see the meat is actually very carefully like separated from anything that gives it any sort of animalistic sort of qualities, but you're able, as you kind of like go to enjoy it, you definitely are able to tell that's what it is. Cool. Blair.
Blair's shocked that there is a Alberger claw donut there. And her favorite breakfast, which is an Eggs Benedict with a little patty in the middle.
Give me a I guess give me a perception check for the owlbear claw.
That's going to be a 17.
Okay. With a 17, you notice that the pastry does taste a little different, as if maybe trying to use healthier substances instead of just like preservative style sugar. Whether that tastes worse or better to Blair is completely up to you.
They took all the flavor out.
Yeah.
It's one of those health nut cults.
She says as she looks over at Lysandra's meal.
Mm-hmm. So Timothy, obviously there would be, no food necessarily waiting for you, but I do think there would be a steaming cup of coffee. Is there anything else?
No, nothing. Who has time? Who has time for breakfast? There's stuff they gotta do.
Yeah, of course. And lastly, Jericho.
Yeah. There's in front of Jericho sits just a sensible portion of peaches and cottage cheese just for him.
Is that a thing? Hold on. That sounds insane.
No, that is a real breakfast. I've seen that.
Peaches and cottage cheese.
You've
My
never
stepmom-
done that? You've never
No.
gotten the like sliced up peaches or like it's a
My
thing.
Yeah, my stepmom has that for breakfast all the time.
It's really good.
This is what
All
broke
right.
the group, Joe.
It's
All right.
really good.
All right. I will try. I'll try it. I've only probably
If-
had
if-
cottage
if-
cheese a number of times, like on one hand. It was
Well, you have to be in a cottage to eat it. That's the problem.
That's what it is. I wasn't in a cottage. I felt like I wasn't doing it due diligence.
Yeah. You can't just be in a house in the woods and say it's a cottage and eat it. No, it has to be an actual cottage.
Totally different.
Totally different.
All right, you have this fucking bonkers breakfast. I'm just kidding. Yeah. And it is weird. I will say, like, first off, you see, at this point, you guys are, fully unsure of whether or not this is, Lux or a Luxus, as you've heard both, statements being said about figures that you're now not entirely sure if they actually look any different. But the figures, is everything to your satisfaction?
Yes, it's quite good.
Fantastic. I will be over in the corner if you need anything at all. There are some guests that will be coming in very soon that I might need to attend to, but know that I am only just a question away.
I have a question. I noticed earlier there's a lot more people up and about than yesterday. Is there like an event or something going on?
Always. there are a number of events that are taking place. Would you like me to list them all for you?
Sure.
And they go down this list. We have... This might be a little out of order, so I apologize. A garden tea ceremony at 1. That is basically in the promenade. Kind of like a moment of like being able to converse with some of the other figures that are there, but basically like kind of a relaxed sort of meeting place. There is an orchestral performance that is going to be playing in the Serpentine Theater, whatever that was. That's not how it's marked on here, but that's where it'd be at. There is the Gilded Spa Experience, which would be... these are not marked where they're supposed to be at. Apologize 1 second. There we go. Yeah, so the orchestral performance would be at the Serpent stage. The tea ceremony is at the Orator's Promenade. The Gilded Spa Experience is at the Sundrop Grotto, which is like right next to where you guys are at. And then, let's see. There is a... you can sign up for a private viewing in the Chronotarium. That's pretty much kind of all it says. It's very, or all they say is very, very simplistic on that. The Kairos Well will be open from noon till 6 that evening, but you will need to schedule a private viewing. And then there is something called Tarot Night in the Sundrop Grotto in the evening, where guests can gather for exclusive tarot readings. Guest of honor is question mark right now. So it does not state it. There's an evening banquet that is held at the Copperclad, which is the hotel, so literally where you guys are at. And then there is in the later evenings there's supposed to be the Sundrop Duel, which is a performance of which will be like basically a performance to watch two figures that are going to be fighting with weapons. And I might have missed a couple things here. Some of these I kind of are like, not a fan of. Yeah. So after explaining all that, I assume, unless there's some other questions that any of you have, Lux or Alexis will move just out of hearing range, presumably.
Oh, we have a meeting today, by the way.
Let's
The
go.
inventor would like to meet everyone at noon.
Everybody needs to go there?
Yes, that was what they requested.
Okay.
That's who you saw yesterday, right, Timothy?
That's correct.
Well, what was she like? What did you learn?
I honestly don't know. She told me that. Well, I have certain memories of my past, but she seemed to know, or at least she said she knew some things for older than that. So, to be honest, I don't know. She
What
could be
kind of
lying, or she could be telling the truth, but at this point, I just don't know.
what kind of memories did she bring up for you? Were they good memories at least?
Um, it- well, she said today she would give me more information, but all she really said was uh, there seems to be about a 30-year period where she said I was created and she knew me. Um, that I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
That she knew you from when you were made, created.
That's what she said.
It's hard to
And-
imagine somebody older than you existing.
And she can't
Uh,
fix the problem with your memories?
She said it's she said she wasn't sure. Well, I don't know. I don't know what she can do. I don't know how truthful she is. I don't know much about anything right now. Rasa, how long have you been an angel?
For as long as I can remember, but I've got the same memory problems as you apparently. Maybe
And why
she'll
didn't you
know.
tell me? Come on, buddy.
You're missing 30 years of your memories?
Apparently, if she's being truthful, yes. And in that case, I don't even know if what my memories have are true. So I have no idea.
Well, when Lai was talking to her when she was healing my bullet wounds, it seems like they're having an intense conversation.
She was just merely curious.
What was she curious about?
She implied she knows certain things that I don't think she should.
Do you think we should know these certain things?
Now you roll good? Okay. I think I do not want to lie, but there are certain truths that must be held to protect people I care about. If you would accept that as an answer?
I guess as long as these truths won't hurt us or have no potential to come back and hurt us, I guess it's all the same. Is there a chance that we might be hurt by these by not knowing?
No, I promise. Should that information become a danger to you, you will know it immediately. But for now, the knowledge of that information is a danger to others.
You do know that's still a lie, and it's a lie by omission, so this thing of not lying, you're still technically kind of lying, it's just you're in the morally... like you're tiptoeing
It's
around
not
it.
a lie. A lie is a mistruth. There's no mistruth here. I'm being very clear that I must withhold the truth and don't wish to lie.
Mm-hmm.
We all have things that we're holding close to our chests.
Not me.
Your inventor friend seemed... I'm not sure. She did not seem happy that my kind was here. I don't know if she has a history with my people.
You mean young people?
Southern people?
Weird magic-y shit?
People with white hair?
Yes. We'll see. Why don't we wait till the meeting? I say,
Sure.
looking at the crowded dining room around us.
Yeah, I'd say most figures have like I would say like at this point you actually see figures start to kind of come in from not only from their rooms. I would say that you notice Rasa and the rest of you, but like Rasa specifically, you notice Jewel and Bernard coming to sit down and eating breakfast kind of a little bit further away, but Jewel kind of like gives you like a slight nod. You also notice that Ophelia is not here. I would say we'll say for the sake of simplicity, anyone who like goes in to like check on her, she just says like, I'm feeling really sick, I'm going to sit whatever you guys have out. So, keeping it simplistic. I think as you guys are finishing your meal, you see a couple of other people. As I mentioned, you see a couple of people come in. None of which are figures that you particularly recognize, but I'm going to kind of put a couple of them in your way to see. You see two figures that come up that are not just in white robes. It seems like they just kind of got here. One, they both seem to have sort of like darker hair, but I would say you can tell the male is like somewhat a little more tanned. The seemingly female woman is a little bit paler. They both seem to be dressed in these very like high class, but mostly black and brass clothing. They look around. I think they see they see Timothy, Jericho, and Blair. And like kind of like I think especially the male kind of does like a little bit of like a double take, and then if like catches any of your eye, he gives kind of a nod almost apologetically of the female does not seem to may have seen you, may have not have. It's hard to say, but I would say female figure seems to carry herself, as you'll notice with a lot of these guests, very like high-shouldered, some sort of authoritative type of figure. The male figure seems to almost always be like 2 steps behind. Not like necessarily in a butler sort of fashion, but like allowing her to kind of decide where they're going next. You also see another figure, and this would be the first elf you guys have seen, at least in this campaign. I'd say you guys probably saw a couple of them, and after those that would have been in Nexus, you would have seen a couple, but actually there's probably 1 or 2 on the train. It's not that there wasn't a specific sort of thing to this, but this figure you see is incredibly like gaunt looking elven male that seems to have a very like dark resting look to him. You notice that he has put on the white robe, but it's probably like over some clothes. You can kind of like notice it's a little bit of bulky. He probably also just arrived. And you notice that he seems to be looking a lot like around at different things, giving you kind of the vibe that this is his first time here.
Can you remind how common elves are in this part of the world, Joe? They're not super common, correct?
No, I would say humans and elves are humans probably make up like for Vracia, for the capital, it'd be like a 60-40 sort of setup between humans and elves, and then maybe a 1% being people that are not either. Okay. So elves are less, but not uncommon. I would say, like I said, in Nexus, you probably saw a couple. You probably even saw a couple on the train.
Okay, cool.
There you go. Anything else you guys would like to do before noon?
Is the I forget her name, the person we saw in the bath, Cassian's.
Oh, yeah.
Raya. Is Raya in this? Oh, it's a dog. Oh, sorry. Is Raya in this space?
Yes. I would say that Raya has she comes down. I would say she still looks pretty much just like this. She definitely is like she looks to be kind of like refreshed from like an early shower. But yeah, she does come down, and I would say, oh, I have this down somewhere. She comes down with another human male figure. Presumably your husband.
Okay. No, but they're not with anybody else. Okay. Just want to clock them. That's it for my stuff.
I think it's a good point, actually. I think Raya. Let's say if you're clocking them, you see that Raya is specifically taking a seat. Maybe actually like taking her food and actually kind of like going closer towards like one of the pools that are here, but is positioning herself so that she can see people coming in. And I'll say occasionally for figures that are not notable enough to mention, you see her kind of like give a little wave to those figures. She does not seem to notice you guys.
Understood. Thanks.
I think Timothy actually wants to. Where is, I guess, Rasa and Timothy in relation to each other? Like, are we all? Okay.
Yeah, you guys.
I think Timothy
you guys are all sitting together and eating together. So.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. That's fine. I think Timothy's going to look at Rasa and say, Rasa, I'm a little bewildered here. There's a lot of, well, new things. I need to be grounded. I need one thing. Did you always know?
I didn't. It was something that I learned in an emergency, and it saved my life.
Was this before Aurora?
Yes. But, I mean, my powers grew the older I got. But it's been the reason I've been able to stay alive for so long.
And are you my friend?
Absolutely, Timothy. I've kept this secret so that other people wouldn't know, and it could be used to save us again if needed.
Okay. Will you help me later? Because at this point, I don't know what to believe with, Halise and what I've been told, and I need your help, Rasa.
Anything you need, Timothy. I just want you to know you're not like these machines. Okay? You're different. You're one of us.
Oh, I could have told you that in the first 5 minutes of meeting Timothy. He's completely different. I mean, one, he doesn't answer with what his name is immediately with a question.
It's probably because he's Warforged, not Brassborn.
And what does that mean?
They are different, more unique, conceived, well, I believe, in a time where magic was still quite prominent. And perhaps that's how beings such as him can have souls, have lives. They differ so from the Brassborn.
How do you know so much about, I mean, the difference between Brassborn and Warforged?
Honestly, for Brassborn, I'm just going off of observation. I did not know they existed before 2 days ago. I mean, I assume.
Well, you certainly seem very confident about it, Miss Lysandra, so kudos to you and your continued learning.
Yeah.
I feel as though that was a jest made at my expense, but
No,
Jericho
not
throws
at
up again.
all.
Oh God, no.
It's just cottage cheese and peaches. Yeah.
Blair, is that explosive device
Yep,
okay?
it's fine. I deactivated it. And stop everyone yelling explosive and bomb and shit in a crowded room. And I know, I have no room to talk. I said it twice yesterday. But I was just a little peeved you weren't giving it back to me.
As well.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Any other grievances that need aired while we're here together?
Yeah, Jericho, what's with the pieces of straw yesterday?
Well, first, let me just say that thank you all for coming to my rescue last night. That's greatly appreciated. I from what I hear from you, I was in quite the bad way. So thank you for
You nearly
sharing.
died.
and-
I thought he was dead.
Sometimes there's not much difference. I don't quite know what's going on with the straw. It was new to me as it was to you.
Insight check.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna roll good.
Well, let's see. Deception or persuasion, Jericho?
You have to beat a dirty 10.
You said I had to be a what?
A 10.
I have a +6 to deception. I'm a little liar.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you roll?
And yet I
Okay.
rolled a 7. Well, no, not well, yeah, basically.
Total 7.
Not a 7 actually. It was an 8. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, with an 8, Jericho, please describe to me like the hints of showing
Yeah.
that you might be deceiving, as you had mentioned, deception. You're deceiving the party.
Yeah. I am sweating. I think there's just a slight tremble in my hand as I'm continuing to scoop up my breakfast. And as I said, I'm quite good at lying, but there's just a little bit of a tilt that's giving me away in this moment. That
I'd like the rest of you to
not being
also
truthful.
roll insight checks on this.
I just got a 19.
Great.
Yep, 22 for Rasa.
10.
Okay, cool.
Jesus. Okay.
I'm
gonna lie better next time.
Well, this may be foreshadowing for later. Maybe we'll see. I think for Blair and actually, all of you guys have reasons to be able to kind of catch this. Not necessarily in a sort of like particular like poker style sort of venue. But some of you, yeah, like in that sort of like idea of like recognizing, the game and how people respond, and but it's up to you. I think for a couple of you, you notice that the hand shaking might be a tell in the future.
Timothy actually reaches out and puts his hand on Jericho's wrist and says, "You need to calm down a little bit."
You feel the cold metal hand. There's a moment that the seeing the blood that was on it seems to kind of like flash in front of you as you see it touching your hand. Very comforting.
Yeah, very. Mr. Timothy, I okay. I am definitely calm right now. I can okay. I guess
Jericho?
the question I have is do I know that y'all know that I'm lying? Is that weird game?
No, I think roll me in. I'll give you like a straight up like 11 or higher insight check.
Yeah. Well, I think Scott was about to say something. I don't want to take away his moment.
No. Go for it.
That's a 9.
We may have also cut off Kiki, just FYI, so that's kind of just make sure if I do cut you off, make sure you just jump back in. Don't wait for me. And you can always cut me off.
Okay. I rolled a 9. So what does that mean, Joe? I don't know.
Man, it's funny with the hand thing. You think that Timothy may know, but you're not entirely sure.
Sure.
But it is a 9, so you feel like, I think for Jericho there might be a little bit of like a sense of like no one cares enough to know, maybe.
Well, I'm going to factor in a couple of other things, Joe,
Sure.
and that is that there has been, I think, 2 different hallucinations that everyone has seen as well. So I'm feeling as though I do owe them something to say. So yeah, Mr. Timothy, can I ask you to please take your hand off my hand, please?
Oh no,
Yeah.
he was. I don't want it to sound like he was like pushing you down. He was just kind
No.
of like reassuring.
Yeah.
Him. Yeah.
But you're a metal man.
Even reassuring. I was like, you know.
No, understandable. Yep.
Okay. I'll tell y'all. Can I tell y'all a little? Can I tell y'all a little story?
Please do.
Truths are a good way to start.
I'm not originally from here. I come from a I come from an area known as Imea. I don't know if y'all have heard from it. I come from the south. And I had to make my way over. I had a Sorry, this is over breakfast. It's bad timing, but y'all asked, and I had to leave my home. I had to try to find a new life for myself and my son, and I think that I boarded this vessel. Boarded this ship. I heard that there was good work out here. I heard there was profit and ways to start over, and so I boarded a ship and started making the trek. And one day, I don't know what happened, and the ship started sinking, and people started screaming, and people started fighting, and people started gnawing, and we were lucky that we just happened to get on the raft and were among some of the people that managed to get off of it. The ship's name was the Capriccio. I was on the raft of the Capriccio with 48 other people. Day by day, the numbers started dwindling. The straw comes from the raft. I spent 74 days on that raft. And by the time it was done, only myself and 2 others survived. We were picked up off the shore of Abervar, and I was brought to shore, and I'm here today. Just me.
I'm glad you made it, Jericho. It was a terrible experience.
Yeah. I don't really want to talk about it. I don't really care to talk about it too much. Yeah, that's I don't know how, and I don't know why, and I don't know who or what's behind it, but I can tell you that ever since I came off that's sort of when it's when these visions have happened. I don't know why, and I don't know who, and I don't know if the straw is connected to them or... Yeah.
Can I ask you one more question about that? And it's okay if you don't want to answer.
Yeah, now's the time, I guess.
Who were the other two?
The other two? It's funny, one of them I never really caught his name, and the other one went by Reed. I'd soon know him as Cassian Reed.
It's curious. His meteoric rise. He's a candidate, is he not? Perhaps he too knows something of what you're going through. Maybe his
No.
deal was a bit different.
I don't know. I know I think he's been brokering on the story, and he's been doing his own thing. I can't say for sure if Cassian is going through what I'm going through or afflicted with what I'm afflicted with, but we'd be best left not dealing with him. At least if we want to maintain our safety, it's best to stay away from Cassian Reed.
Understood.
This moment. You're not sure where they came from. Everybody was slightly huddled, or at least focused in on this scene. But you see Tressa. And looks over at Lysandra. Madam Inventor has seemingly changed their mind. If you are available, she would like to see you now.
I am, yes. I'd gladly see her now.
Right this way.
I'll follow her.
Okay. And just like that, party goes from 6 to 5 to 4. And we're going to take our 10-minute break. I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Okay. So as Lysandra is being is following Tressa, where would the rest of you guys, or what would the rest of you guys like to be doing? You can obviously be continuing to kind of talk here, or just checking in to make sure that I'm giving that open.
You think they would let us book a group tour of the Chronotarium?
Yeah, that seems like a good thing. I kind of also wanted to see the orchestra thing.
The tarot seemed cool as well, but I'll go with the group.
I think the tarot thing is later tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Timothy, anything you're interested in doing while we're here?
uh,
Like that garden tea party thing, you like to smell coffee. Maybe you like to smell different teas.
no, I'd be happy to go anywhere. Uh, I mean, I'd really like to get some answers. She said that she'd meet us to get some answers, so definitely would like to get some answers later. But in the meantime, I'm happy to go anywhere.
Hmm. Well, we can always just write these things down and draw straws and see which one we get.
I don't know if drawing straws is appropriate for our friend Jericho.
I know, I'm trying to
Jericho's just looking at the ground at that statement.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to lighten the mood, but that's probably not the best of jokes.
I just, Blair, as your friend, some things maybe aren't worth laughing at.
Rasa, what was the thing that you wanted to look at, that you wanted to go to?
The Chronotarium. I'll be honest, I have no idea what it's about, but maybe that's what's interesting me the most.
Jericho, Blair, do you want to join us? Take a walk over there for a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds. I would love to learn what a chronotarium is today as well. I think that sounds great.
Why the hell not?
All right, I think I would like wave down Lux, and yes. How do we book a tour of the Chronotarium?
One moment. How many?
4?
Nisi just kind of stares out into this open spot. I believe there is space in approximately about 20 minutes.
Okay, we'll head that way, I guess.
Who should I put the party's name under?
Just my name, Rasa, will work.
Rasa. Very well. Cool. Let's say. Let's do this. Jericho, roll me a luck check.
11.
Okay. Cool. So you guys head over to the Chronotarium. I will say once you get there, you see what looks to be Lux, or a creature very much resembling Lux, waiting for you in this huge sort of like glass. It kind of like looks like you're like in the eye of like a kaleidoscope for a second, as you guys are kind of walking into this structure, and you see that there are a bunch of like kind of like shifting, moving, high above you, these like glass shapes. Some of them, some of the glass being colored, some of them being clear. That seems to be moving in a somewhat of a circular way, but actually like the concentric circles inside seem to kind of shift a little bit in place. You see that there are doors that seem to lead further into what would actually be the Chronotarium itself, but there is a booth in front, and you see that there is a figure that is waiting there. I'll say, like, time-wise, this would make sense in the idea that you guys spent some time kind of like talking and sort of like working out stuff that this figure might have beaten you there. You see the elven figure kind of sitting in this kind of like sort of like waiting room sort of setting. It's actually this big vast open sort of complex here, but this person, Lux, are the only people that seem to be here right now to survey anything. So this person's sitting down. Lux, or one of them, at this point I think you guys kind of get the idea of like, oh, this like the concept of like the hive mind of this Brassborn system seems to be on the right track. As the figure kind of greets you. Hello? Name?
Oh, hello, Rasa. I think we have a reservation.
Fantastic. There is only 5 minutes left for the other party to come out. There is an individual that would be interested in... Well, it is completely up to you, but that gentleman over there was interested in seeing the Chronotarium with no specifics on what subject matter they were watching. If you are interested in adding him to your party. If not, please don't feel the need to confront. I will do that myself. But here are the options. There is the first Brassborn awakening. The day the Capricia sank. The Night War's quiet dawn. Creation. That's it.
And we only get to pick one of these?
Correct. There is also a fifth option for one of you to be analyzed in showing a specific memory that you have. Something that you will be able to walk through and explain to your party as if they were there watching in real time.
So, wait, this thing houses memories?
Not really. There are a couple of concepts, understanding of stories that have been told throughout the ages that would take a certain as factual as one can assume an approach for that. But there is also a piece of it that can borrow from your own memories. And in that way, yes, it is extremely accurate.
Do any of these interests anyone?
So I'll name them again. First Brassborn Awakening. The Day the Capriccio Sank. The Night Wars Quiet Dawn. Creation. Or Custom.
What is the Night Wars?
Are you asking in-game?
I'm asking in game. I'm asking the Raspborn.
The Night Wars was an old tale given of a time that had passed some would say 100 years ago, of a war between two divided nations, one living in the underground and darkness, and the other living above in the world of light.
You want to go learn about it, Timothy?
Ross, I'm sure. It's as good as any, I guess. Is there one that you'd rather do?
You guys can ask about the other ones too.
What is the creation one?
That one, it is hard to say how factual it is, but it takes the creative liberties of showing a vast array of a story long told about how our world was created. From the primordials that had shaped all of Esther.
Well, that sounds boring.
Who wants to watch a dumb story about rods? You said there's one about the Capriccio. What is that one about?
The Capriccio was a ship that was shipwrecked off the coast of Nexus some time ago. Recently. This is a foretelling of events that had transpired there. With detail, I will tell you all, it is not for the faint of heart. It is a sad story with a happy ending.
Who told you? Who told this story? Who is this story from?
The author's work was appreciated to be anonymous.
Okay.
Jericho, is there one that you prefer?
Maybe not that one just yet.
What about the Brassborn one? What is that one about?
I have to admit it is one of my favorites. A collection of tales that surmise around the idea of a machine that its maker desperately wanted to live and be alive.
Are you a descendant of the first Brassborn? That makes sense.
Am I? In a manner of speaking.
Mr. Timothy, would that be one of interest for you? Would you?
It could be interesting. Sure. I guess I don't really have a specific one that is calling out to me.
Yeah,
I'm
that
happy to
creation
listen.
one is seems very boring.
The one about the war with the people from underground seemed kind of okay. If nothing else, it might be. I don't know. It might keep our attention for a little while.
Sure. Are we including the man standing over there?
Yeah, I would be okay if he came.
You see he's sitting down, but like actually facing away from you, in a very almost a robotic sort of way, as he's just kind of staring into nothingness, patiently waiting.
Oh yeah, he seems like a barrel of laughs to bring along.
Should we ask his opinion on a movie, or should we just go forward and outvote him?
I think he didn't have a preference. That's what Lux said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can walk up to them and talk to them.
Nah, you're not supposed to talk to NPCs, Joe. That's the first rule of the game.
See, he's really a monster. I'm just trying to get somebody to go up so he can just go and attack him.
Okay, there's no objections. I say we let him in.
He seems harmless. Yeah, that's.
I don't care.
Well, he's making. Very good.
Okay,
I think
go ahead, Timothy.
Timothy's going to walk up to the stranger, put out his hand, and say, "I heard you're joining us for this thing. My name's Timothy."
Yes, it is. Hello. My name is Altharion. Takes your hand.
Nice to meet you, sir. Did you have a preference on the show, I guess?
Just make sure I got his stuff. Preference? No, I'm here to enjoy the show and all that it can bring. I have to admit, I have never seen the likes of you before, at least maybe not in some time.
That seems to be something I'm hearing lately.
Do you have a model number?
It's Timothy.
Fascinating. A request from a fleshling of a Brassborn, and the answer is given in preference to what it wants to be called. Are you from here?
I don't know, actually.
You do not know if you're born in the sanctuary?
No.
I see. Well, maybe some. And you see he's now kind of like staring. He's getting really close and like staring into your eye. Maybe some misfirings on the wires or purposely being deceitful on what you know. Incredible. Well,
At this point, I think Timothy in his head is figuring out about 16 ways to disable and put down this this person if need be.
yeah. Absolutely stunning. Well, I will leave you in your confusion or deceit. I am interested in any and all.
Well, we're welcome to have you. And he points the way over toward everyone else.
Yeah. You guys are only up maybe like 15 feet away. So you've heard this whole conversation. Hello, everyone. Altharian Chris. Inventor of sorts. In no way, shape, or form this level.
It's nice to meet you.
Blair.
Blair. Charm, sure. You, sir. Looking at Jericho.
My name is Jericho. It's very nice to make your acquaintance.
It's very nice to meet you as well. I wasn't aware that they... I wasn't aware that they let Southern Abravarians in.
No one has told me to leave yet.
Incredible.
With that, Timothy actually puts his hand on Jericho and says, "Jericho's my friend. He stays where I am."
I see, so that would make it that you are not necessarily from Whitewater. Unless this is a recent friend.
I've known Jericho a couple of years.
Curious.
Would Blair recognize his name as an inventor or something like word of mouth?
Roll me a dirty 20 investigation.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it.
We're just visiting for the day for a little bit, sir, and we were going to see a story here. If you'd like to join us, I don't.
Yes, of course.
I think
I'm very
it probably.
excited.
Yeah.
You said you're an inventor. Does the name Emery Vargas mean anything to you?
Good. It has a sense of humor.
Now I'm confused. Again.
Oh,
God
yes,
dang.
of course. Perhaps you've seen one of these before, and like kind of like points to the Brassborn Awakening part of the sign.
You have me at a loss, sir. I have not.
Oh. Well, I guess I assumed all Brassborn were aware of their... apologies. I do not think this is something you should be hearing from a stranger, sir. As there might be something in your programming that has kept you from understanding where you come from. Did you all pay the full price here, or was there some sort of discount given for those in Nexus? or
Hmm.
Providence, maybe.
I'm just gonna lean over to like Ross was saying. I kind of don't want him to come in now.
I will say, like, there's a weird sort of moment of like seeing his face here. That's his like resting face, and as soon as it's like he has a sort of like weird like kind of thing of like as he talks, he all of a sudden gets extremely excited. But it's almost like a power down, power up sort of thing. Like if you didn't know better, you would assume this guy is Brassborn.
But he's an inventor.
But
Don't
he's
you
an
want to
inventor.
make connections?
Being around like people, like you've talked to me for like 5 minutes. You know I'm not a people person, but
Networking.
yeah.
Skill.
Just like put on that like customer service like smile, like eyebrow twitching a little.
So Etheria, you said you're an inventor. What sort of things do you invent?
Oh, well, most of my services are based upon what I'm being called out to. Needing a machine for this, a machine for that. I especially like to make smaller brassborn creatures designed for simple tasks in mind, but to make sure that they are built to be seen and not heard is my specialty. Sometimes not seen and not heard.
Blair is kind of an aspiring inventor.
Oh, really?
Yes. Any tips for someone looking to grow their craft?
Well, I would say that, are you wanting to travel to Vracia?
I do. I have some quite interesting ideas to bring there.
Ah, well, I would say that Vracia would be the place where ideas go to rot and die. It would be much, much more a benefit for you to spend some time maybe in Madura if you're needing the resources involved. But Vracia is a place that is, if it is not serving the machine, it is not useful to them.
So
of course, you could find
anything-
ways around that, given the idea that you might have a wondrous connection between what you want to do and what you're good at.
So as long as it's value to a machine, you say it could be quite valuable there?
Sorry, when I say the machine, I mean the political machine. Progress, for the sake of progress. I forgot who I was talking to. My apologies.
Thank you.
Can I punch this guy? I want to punch this guy.
Go for it.
Not as a D&D character, as myself, Matt.
Yeah.
I want to punch this guy.
Give me an attack roll +0 because commoner. I mean, no, yeah.
This is just
He's being very
Blair.
polite.
This is just Blair 2.0, okay?
You can see that like Blair's forehead's getting really big and pulsing.
I'm just getting you guys ready for when you get to Madura and Vracia.
Well, perhaps it's time for us to view our showing.
Yeah.
Timothy, did you make a final decision? The war? Or the first Brassborn?
Jericho wanted to watch the war, so that could work.
Okay. Let's plan on that then. Is that alright with you, Etherio?
Perfectly fine. As I said, I'm here to watch the machine, not the story.
Have you seen this machine before? Or is
No.
it more like seeing the technical part of it?
Both. Those are two different questions. I will say no, yes. I am very interested. I I've only just scrounged up the amount of money to be able to spend a day here, so I'm very excited to see and take in all the sights.
Wow, you're only going to spend a day here? We've been here for like almost 3.
Incredible. You didn't answer my question on whether or not you were here on discount.
No, we're paying full price, actually.
Deception check.
Technically, someone is.
I mean,
Well-
actually,
well-
I mean, can I? Well,
What?
mm.
Yeah, if you want
I
to
was
help.
I was going to jump in to help. I was going to jump in to help Blair and say, we're here with special price, a full price, but under special invitation of someone very important to be here.
Okay. Doesn't change the deception roll, yeah. That's it. But I'll say you have advantage.
Okay.
I think while they're doing that, I think Timothy wants to kind of whisper something to Rasa.
Yeah, you go and do it.
So, kind of trying to be kind of out of earshot of the elf. Rasa, I guess there could be a different possibility for this show. They said they could do a dream or a memory from someone. What if we try to take my first memory of Emery Vargas?
I'll say above board, do you have a memory of Emery Vargas?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, maybe it can only. It's like show and tell, I think, maybe. For memories that you have, so that you can show your friends.
Sometimes on business, this I'm trying to talk in Altharian's voice, isn't it? The much calmer sort of Brasslight would explain. Sometimes in business retreats, it seems to be best to use. They are sometimes used to be able to explain the situation of where they were in the meeting that had taken place. Not exactly what we intended to use for it, but it does work. It's the same way nonetheless.
So I think we tell the Brassborn that we're going to see the Night War.
You got it.
And that was a 16 on deception.
Okie dokie. Ah. Well. In that case, my father is the Chancellor.
Inside check.
Not needed. You know the Chancellor's human.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Should we go in?
Okay, I'll start walking in. Yeah.
You got it. You see, there is a moment as you see like shifting sort of lines, and you'll see that the door is actually is stopping you for a moment. God, ChatGPT is freaking out. But yeah, the door closes. The door eventually opens, and you all are able to walk through. And we'll pause you there.
It tries to pause me, but then I just wrench the door off of it.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. Everybody roll initiative. Just kidding. Cool. We do a quick cut to Lysandra being standing next to standing next to Tressa in an elevator shaft that is descending below, going several floors down. You see Tressa is very unmoving, just kind of like staring forward. If you were to catch her eye, she'll look towards you, smile, and ask if there's anything you needed. But after a few minutes, the doors open. Lysandra, anything you want to do in preparation, or things you want to be kind of like paying attention to, that sort of thing?
I'm going to divine sense. They last for 10 minutes. Celestials, fiends, undead, hallowed or desecrated, all the fun stuff.
Okay, cool. I don't think anything is going
I
to
might not get anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She might be spooky. Humans don't live for over 200 years without some kind of weird shit going on.
Cool. Okay. Okay. A lot of lore stuff I'm having to think about and pay attention to right now. I apologize. Cool. So you are descending down. You see the gates kind of slide open, and Tressa continues to kind of walk you down. In this part, it is very much, as I may have mentioned before, very much kind of like a behind Disneyland sort of vibe. So there's a lot of like machine parts, pipes, things that are whistling, humming, like far off engines that seem to be like cranking and moving. Especially, I'd say like as you get closer down here, as you hear like a very large machine that is starting to kind of move just above you, Coronarium. As you are coming up to an individual that seems to be working on what looks to be the rough sort of skeleton of an automaton. Very form-fitted to looking a little bit skinnier, but much more like elegant looking in like the metal plating that is around. So looks like truly like nothing really like Lux except for the face at this point. The figure is facing away from you, sweat kind of dripping down their brow as they turn towards you. This room is dark enough that they have no need for their goggles as you see Halise. Eyes very sort of sunken in, much more showing of age. You can see just the light sort of yellow iris that seems to kind of surround. This person does not look like the type of person that gets much sleep. But kind of looks at you with like somewhat of a curt smile. It's funny, down here, any sort of form of fleshling, even one such as you, provides some comfort every once in a while. Feel free to take a seat. I'm almost done.
Okay.
You see there is no seat. There is what looks to be like a hard sort of like metal bench that looks to have some, that has like just enough sort of space for you to be able to sit down, as there's gears that are like just random machine parts that are kind of like stacked around like close by near you. This looks like it was hurriedly sort of like making a space for you to be able to sit. And she keeps working for about 7 whole minutes.
I will watch her and also kind of look around because like part of the training and education, she has basic education and everything in her home, so she has a very, very fun foundational understanding of engineering, like very foundational. So she's just observing to see what differences, I guess,
Yeah.
between her people and this.
Yeah, I think, you know, like, Kiki, you kind of have a good idea of like what you're trying to survey, and having a good concept of what your character sheet and things like that. I'll say, you tell me what you would like to roll for what.
I feel like this would probably be history, just comparing like education to reality around you.
Okay.
Maybe.
What are you trying to determine specifically? Obviously, I'll give you, you know, more outside of that.
Like the differences. Like are her people more advanced, or has this community that she built come farther than expected? Because she saw Nexus, she saw Rustwater. They are nowhere near her people, but is what Halise has here nearer or just
Right.
different and on the same level? Like, what's that comparison?
Yeah, makes sense. And just for reference sake, I believe it was Providence. I don't believe you've been to
Providence, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, give me that history check.
I have inspiration. There's no way I rolled a natural fucking one. We're using this inspiration. We're not using this dice. That's a natural 20.
Okay. I
Natural
seriously
1
thought you were
to
going to say a
natural
nat 1.
20.
Okay. I was
No,
going to
no,
Jesus. We've done this before, too.
We have. Not again.
Okay, cool. Great. I'm going to say with a nat 20. With a nat 20, we're going to have some fun with this. I'm going to say, I'm going to allow you to ask 3 other questions that I have to give a decent answer to throughout the conversation. Okay. If there's something where I feel like it's like fully game breaking, I will tell you above board it is game breaking. But other than that, it'll be 3 questions that I will have to answer honestly. At any point in time. So you can even cut me off in the middle of what's happening at any point. So in regards to this like history check here, you notice that the machinations of everything around you, first off, the biggest like difference from the designs and the designs around your culture's abilities for engineering and things is that I think everything stays a little bit cleaner and a little bit more precise, and like it's something that you're always kind of like keep like there's, you know, I don't know how much Lysandra's able to kind of be in the behind the wall of Disneyland there sort of vibe, but I would say that you would venture a guess in the idea that it is always kept quite clean, and like focusing on minute details, where in this case it's if it works, it's good enough. Everything here is dirty. There's like sand everywhere in a little bit of spots of like things that might have gotten down in there. You notice that I'd say like as you're waiting there for the next 7 minutes, you notice that there's like a little like it's like a little like scurrying sort of like bug that kind of comes across the floor. So in that way, it is different. But as far as the idea of like what your assumptions were, I think Lysandra's a little surprised at where this world has gotten without your culture's help. especially in vast comparison to the places that you've been to. They seem hundreds of years behind than compared to what the places that you have here now, which I would say definitely not stylistically, but engineering wise, they're not that far behind. You might have better resources. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will say also on top of this, you notice in like direct juxtaposition of the idea of everything being like, if it works, it's fine. There seems to be specific focus on getting very tiny sort of like details of this automaton that's on there. And I say automaton because it does look like it is just an empty shell of something. It does not seem to be powered on in any way. Yeah. Anything else before the 7 minutes?
No, I will let her finish her work. I will patiently wait for my host to finish whatever she's doing.
Yeah. You also kind of get a little bit of a vibe of like, this might be a little bit of a power play.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I have time for you, but you're gonna have to wait for me. So after she, you hear one last. Okay. Hello.
Hello, Elise.
I guess I should start in saying that I do recognize that the youth that is staring back at me clearly shows that you are not Melisandre. And I want you to know that I know that.
Okay, I don't know why you would assume Melisandre would be alive after so long, but it's curious that you know her name.
Yes, I know that, among other things. You wanted a private audience with me.
You had questions that I did not feel comfortable answering in front of people I met less than a week ago. And I had questions about your relationship to Melisandre and my people in the past. What you know of us.
What I know of you. Well, I guess I will go first then. What are you doing here?
I'm traveling, hoping to see all of Abervar, see how it's changed, learn of, well, my people's knowledge is outdated to say the least, so I'm trying to learn. I'm here for adventure and wonder.
It seems, from the little that I know of your culture, out of place. Were you asked to go on this mission?
I was encouraged by visions, dreams.
Here we go.
You would call them dreams, but they are not quite that.
the being before you asked you to come here and do these things. You know, it is funny how much your people like to use that as a crutch in saying, in claiming zero responsibility.
What do you mean?
If you don't know what I mean, then this conversation is going to take longer than I thought. I need to know something, Lysandra. In this place, I can see everything. I don't often choose to, for many reasons, mostly because I have no interest in what happens up above there. As long as my clients are happy, and I get to continue my work. Your people, at least when I knew them, had eyes everywhere, and were much more diligent than I would be in this place of making sure they were watching Abravar make its mistakes. So, all that is to say, are we being watched now?
Is there something I can roll to see? Because, like, her people's knowledge is so outdated. She would assume, I think, that they stopped watching for some reason a
Yeah.
long time ago. But also now she's out here, so maybe they are trying to watch again. So
This
is
is,
there anything?
Yeah, I would say like there's a little bit of like but where there are certain things that she's going to say that are not entirely, possibly not entirely accurate. This is like, you know, there's a little bit of the persona mixed in on this, so I would say like feel free to probably lean into that based on what you know. So
Oh.
yeah, so I think for this, I don't know if there's anything to roll. There's more
Okay,
of
yeah,
like
I'll just go off of my knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps in the past that was true, but from what I've come to learn, we stopped watching
After.
a while ago. Words, places, names, creatures have changed. There's Brassborn and not Warforged. There's Amberbacks, not Ignis Dorsum. There's small changes that are mounting in my ignorance. So I don't believe we are being watched. I think our people have lost that curiosity, perhaps.
I believe you. And the dreams, visions, things like that, is Melisandre's ghost watching us?
The tether to an ancestor is always present, but they do not have the ability to impact. They can offer fragments of memories in our rest, but mostly vague and frustratingly vague and often inconsequential. I believe she at least gets glimpses of what I've seen through the day, or else she wouldn't be able to guide me in her way.
Okay.
You knew her.
Briefly. I am not from Abervar. I come from a land far from here. And in my younger days, I traveled a lot, collecting knowledge, understanding of how the world works, could work, how to make things easier, simple. Got in a lot of trouble during that time. Built up something that originally was meant for the preservation of knowledge. Now I don't know what it is. But it was assumed to be a den of thieves and miscreants, and after much time spent trying to play things their way and explaining how valuable information could be, I determined that it would be best that I just took my leave, and so I ran away and sailed far. Managed to come to this place. Barren. Fresh. I spent some time in what is now known as Vracia. Taught what I knew, and was given freedom to be able to continue learning, gaining knowledge. It was there that I met him. I hated him at first. He knew less than me, understood less than me, but somehow learned so much quicker than I could ever. Emery. Quiet man. Easy to make nervous. Easy to convince to do what you wanted. seemingly. We worked on developing engines, things that could use fuel and resources and turn them into something else. Energy to be able to lighten things up, bring things from one place to another. To stop breaking the back of humanity and allowing machines to do the heavy lifting. I was always more interested in making sure that the function worked and the likability of the machine was highly irrelevant. He wanted something different. He would often say that he had dreams. Someone would speak to him in these dreams. The next day he would have a brand new idea of something that could be powered by something else rather than using the resources that we had. There could be another energy source, something that would be replenishable. I was in love. And so in my foolish attempt to clamor some sort of feelings in return, I helped him in trying to develop something new. All I knew was to be able to use the substance, the Ignis Dorsum, as being the most powerful source. But what he was building wasn't... It didn't facilitate the same mass of power. It was something that was smoother, something different.
Dominion.
Yes. And then she came. The woman of his dreams. He put it in his hands.
Was Emery Kalishtar, if he had those dreams, was he one of us?
No, he was... Maybe. I always assumed that his hair was whitening like mine. He had very little interest in discussing where he came from, but he seemed to be very surprised to meet her. Surprise is not the word. I realize as I'm saying this, I just sound like a jealous shrew. Perhaps, maybe partly I am. But when talk of war started, quite suddenly, she was gone. And I was left to pick up the pieces of his broken heart. So, like I said, I know that you're not her. But if she's listening, could you give her a big fuck you from me?
I am sorry for the history you two shared. Just- She should not have ran from war, but if you knew who she was, then you know why she left. Or perhaps she kept that from you as well. The responsibilities to our people. I don't know what happened back then, and I am sorry for that, Halise. I wish my people had done it differently. I wish we had been here, we had stayed and tried to help shape this nation, but I can't change the past. I can only look toward the future.
Well spoken. The future. And you see her kind of turn and look back at the robot, the automaton. In that we agree. Well, I suppose actually I would have a roll an insight check 'cause there's some things that you've kind of concluded several times, like I don't really know exactly what's going on. Maybe you... Do you know why you're here?
There are a number of reasons I have given, which are true in their own way, as to why I left. Difficult choices I ran from. The desire to travel and adventure is, from what Melisandre has filled my memory with her journeys of her past, but there's something more. And I assume a woman of your caliber will probably scoff at that based off of comments you've already made, but there's a prophecy in motion.
Go on.
There are 5 signs we looked for. Our God told us of these signs, and the first has been affirmed. don't know where the second is, but I feel I'm on the right path.
So you don't know what I've found.
I do not, but I believe perhaps fate has guided me here. Perhaps we were meant to find each other. Maybe my help can be reconciliation for what my ancestor did to you in the past.
You're starting to look less like her the more I look at you. I will tell you where I found this is heavily guarded. And there's a lot more. So if I am stealing this from your people, let's just say it looks like there's a lot to take. She walks over to a like a locked metal chest.
Mhm.
And as she opens it up, you see her face reflecting in bright blue light as she takes out a massive block of Dominion.
Elise, I see what you've built here. The focus on servicing your clientele. It's all well and good, but I ask, with the vast resources you now have at hand, will you use it to change this nation for the better, or to serve your own comforts and needs?
Put back in. My goal is for progress. To make things that hum violently go to a soft purr. Be completely silent. I rarely eat, I rarely sleep. Emery is no more. I live. To preserve his legacy. As I said, there's more than what is in there. I am very aware of what it does. I'm aware of its dangers, and I can promise you that there is no bit of this that I would look to be self-indulgent in any way. Most people don't know my name.
Most people also can't benefit from the luxuries you provide here, which is why I asked that question. I came from Rustwater and Providence. I've seen these cities lagging behind, suffering, while you have this wealth of knowledge. I hope to change that one day. To bring a change so that people aren't left behind by progress. Is that something you hope for? Or are you content with indulging the rich and luxurious?
I have no love for those that put others down. But you are young. And I think it is deserved to be said that progress always leaves someone behind.
I will still try. And as someone who stands to gain considerable power, I think that's all I can ask. All anyone can ask is to try and make sure those, as few as possible, are left behind. I
It was
think
a
what
s-
you've done here is great. Sorry.
Yeah. Continue.
I think what you've done here is great. It's excellent with the resources you have. But if I saw someone wanting change, perhaps there would be a way for us both to help each other in that.
If there was a way. That would not hinder bringing Astera into the future in any way, I would gladly be a part of it. But I am reminded of a story that I heard in my voyages. A place that's called Nova Sol. Are you familiar with that?
No.
There was a farmer. Bought an orange orchard full of orange trees. Worked the soil, made sure everything stayed fresh and allowed that orchard to grow. And it got big. And he got rich. And the town loved him and his oranges. Until one day, a man came to town with an apple tree. And all of a sudden, the town was sick of oranges. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think I do, yes.
I am not the harbinger of bringing about those that are left behind, but I will not let it get in my way. Lysandra, this may be obvious to you, but as recognizing the determination of the flat no that Rustwater and the other got of saying, like, we need more for the ignite that we're having, even the disinterest and even talk about that, you recognize that that story is equivalent to that. That apples have been introduced to Abravar.
Shit. Okay, that's great.
The wheel turns slowly, so I'm sure that Rustwater and the other surrounding towns will have enough time to figure out a way to come up with something else. But soon, the Brasslight will not need ignite anymore.
You said that this may have come from my people's stores, or there's a new vein that's been discovered.
I've drilled from my end. I don't know where yours starts.
That's, troubling news.
I prefer to use the word exciting.
You are not one of those left behind, as many of my new compatriots are.
My dear Lysandra, I was. So I know the feeling.
You have the resources, though, but I saw Timothy described to me his power core. And you may have glimpsed mine through your many eyes. There is still a gap in your knowledge. And she just also vaguely gestures at how her armor's designed and the craftsmanship in that.
Perhaps in the interests of conversation, let's say that you're right.
So you seek that knowledge? Do you seek the core I brought with me?
Is this a trick, Kalashta?
It is an honest question. You are the one who has, as you clearly demonstrated by making me wait for you to complete your work, the power in this situation, do you not?
wish to steal work. So I will not take it by force.
Collaboration, then.
What did you have in mind?
Stupid. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. Fuck you, dice. Okay.
I will say just above board, there is a moment of like recognizing like everyone's going to be meeting her as well at a certain point too. So
my people are not ready to come back into the fold, despite my many objections to the contrary. I think part of me hoped by running it would force their hand, but it has not yet. I have a few requests.
how old are you?
Is that important to these negotiations?
Are you a runaway?
Is that important to these negotiations?
She's going to insight check you. Do you want to fight?
Ooh.
It's up to you.
Not with the natural 2.
You see her just smile. I never thought I would actually like a Kalashtar. But you just went up a couple points in my book, dear.
I would like you to keep the knowledge of what you know of my people separate from my group for now, until I'm ready to share that with them. I would like to visit your well, free of charge. And I would like for you to consider a future collaboration with me down the line beyond this. And she's going to pull out the signet ring. There is more I can offer you in the future, once my adventures are done and I return home. Tuck the signet ring back.
Emery's judgment was clouded by affection. I will not let mine be clouded. I need to ponder this.
Of course.
Your friends are in the chronotarium. That elevator there will bring you right into the building. I believe they just started.
One more question before I leave. Do you know where my people are? Has that information been revealed?
I had to say I had no interest in where you were. Is to call a drop of water an ocean. Your people hurt me deeply. Up until this moment, I had zero interest. That being said, Emery focused most of the rest of his life on trying to find out exactly where she would be. And I'm sure I still have his notes somewhere.
I would hope, should you consider this collaboration, and you find those notes, they become conveniently misplaced again.
Perhaps when our deal is concluded.
Very well. Thank you, Elise. It has been a pleasure.
Are they gonna come looking for you?
I would be a fool to say no. I believe they are likely coming already. Though it's hard for the blind to follow a trail, and that's what we are in this world now. I have time. I will be out of your hair before they head north.
For their sake, I hope you're right. She turns back to her work.
I will go find the chronotarium.
Yeah. So there's an elevator that kind of takes you straight up to it. As you all, beautiful, by the way, very nice. As you all, the doors open and you all walk into what looks to be a series of glass squares along the ground. There's white light kind of lit up in the center between the two squares, giving kind of like a pathway that you see kind of opens up to a center sort of block. I'd say like a 6-square block. The glass that is around is already sort of starting to shift. Some of the colored glass kind of moving over, kind of in place. I assume you guys kind of start to follow the path. As you guys do, you notice that the the door that you came into suddenly opens, and you see Lysandra standing there, ready to join you.
Hello, welcome to the chronotarium. We're just getting ready to start our show.
This is unique.
Oh, and this guy's tagging along for some reason.
Oh, hi, Lysandra. It's nice to meet you.
Altharian, very nice to meet you. Wow, quite a get-up you have.
Yes, it's called armor.
Right. Well, okay. Yeah, I was aware of that. I was interested in. Are you a part of the performance?
She's with us.
Ah,
I thought it was a tour. There's a performance. I'm confused.
you see a sort of this weird sort of like kind of like sort of small. It's maybe like 5 feet tall, like kind of like obelisk, sort of like totem thing, kind of pop up. And you see there are two choices. One says, would you like to see it? Two says, would you like to be a part of it?
Can you remind me, when I was talking to Elise, she mentioned at one point something about creating a machine that captures memory. It would be okay to assume that this is the machine she was talking about, or at least
Yes.
a replication of the machine.
Mhm.
Sandra's like, oh, Elise told me all about this. Well, not all about this. She mentioned this. It's really exciting, or it sounded really exciting. And if nobody else is walking forward, she's walking straight for the experience it button.
Okay. Anybody gonna stop her?
Nope. Go ahead. Whatever you
Cool.
want, Lysandra.
Beautiful. And you hit the button to experience it. And you see like a screen kind of pop up that just says, very well. Get ready. You see the screen just kind of slowly sink down to the ground.
The movie IMAX logo shows up on the screen.
You start to see blocks shifting around you, getting bigger. You see they're like perfect cubic squares that start to kind of make shapes that start to kind of like envelop into this like kind of like I hate to put it in this frame, but like a Minecraftian sort of like cliffside. As you see everything go black. There is no light at all.
There is a faint glow from Lysandra's eyes because she's really excited to see this.
Beautiful. So all you see is its light sort of glow. This is where our day starts. In darkness. And with that, we're going to end tonight's session. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.